Ladies and gentlemen, now in today's video, we're going to be having a look at 7-star rank 4 Karolina Dean, and this is no boosters, no suicide masteries, no team synergy, it's just the character, awakened 7-star rank 4 with the Hulkling relic on here, and this character is absolutely absurd. I wanted to focus on in this showcase matches primarily outside of the tech class, because the tech class ones are just absolutely absurd. But even ones outside where she doesn't have the class advantage, this Spider-Woman Jessica Drew here absolutely smoked 2 special 2s, 32 seconds to take care of a rank 4 health pool there, which is absolutely insane. But we have so many banger matches coming, so this is Dust from the Mutant class. Dust, I would say, isn't the worst defender out there, but she is still like a bit of a pain. You still see her relatively frequently in battlegrounds because, you know, she can really catch people off guard if she's left alive too long. But here with Karolina Dean, that isn't too much of an issue. So we're going back to the Sun Ray, we're firing off our special 2, we get the first 6 incinerates. Now with Karolina, the bulk of her damage really comes off that second special 2 and then a special 1 follow-up after if the opponent isn't dead. But you see, like, that second special 2 just absolutely melts because it stacks on and it capitalizes off the first 6 stacks of incinerate, so you've got a crazy amount of damage there, and also being in the Sunbeam, you have access to a crazy amount of power gain. Now, the way that you play this character is a little bit weird and it takes a bit of getting used to because you're trying to maximize the time you spend in the Sunbeam so you can maximize your power gain. But you also gain charges, and these can glance blocked attacks. So look here at Bullseye Special 1, we just see glancing, and we barely take any damage from that. We took like 3% of our max health, which is amazing for Bullseye, man. It's really, really good. And then here, now we're back in the Sunbeam, you can always fire off these specials safely, and it's going to be unblockable. We go for the block again. We get everything glancing. We barely took, what was it, like 2% actually from that special 1. And then we're just going to chuck in like another combo here, go for a special 2, and this is the big one. And then Bullseye is dead. We are alive with 94% health, and we still had like a ton of overkill on that special attack there. So I was actually surprised at how well she worked for the Bullseye matchup. The glancing does so much work there, and just her ability to gain a lot of power while giving the opponent not that much power. Again, the combination of these things blends so well together for that one. Now, next up, we've got Arcade, and Arcade is a really annoying defender if you let him live too long and you just make silly mistakes. But here, we're going to fire off that first special 2. He is absolutely cooked at this point. I'm trying to play like very defensively here and just kind of line up a combo and scenario where we just like parry again special 2, because then the matchup is over. So that is a rank 4 Arcade. Absolutely toasted that matchup in 28 seconds. You get this character going, you get those combos. Look at that, we're 99% health, 28 seconds, just so good. Then next up, we have a dual threat we're seeing a lot in battlegrounds at the moment, which is Gentle. So we want to get into the Sunbeam, we want to charge that heavy and Gentle. You know, you start to get those problems when you're hitting this character too much, but the way that you're playing Karolina, you're trying to really minimize hits and just maximize the time you're chilling in the sun. Now, one really cool thing about the special is like there's kind of like an invulnerability frame recovery period. So basically you can regularly fire off this unblockable special 2 into an unstoppable opponent or something that's going to trigger that and not be punished for it. Again, it's not like 100% reliable, but a lot of the time it's just long enough on the recovery from Karolina with the invulnerability frame that you're absolutely chilling there. And yeah, special 2 didn't quite kill, bit of a follow-up with the relic, and that matchup is absolutely done for. Now, one of the things that's going to be so much more potent in battlegrounds as well is you just have a lot easier access to that relic. So, you know, once you've done kind of the initial match setup, you've got that special 2 kind of being aggressive and pushing into the opponent with the relic. You know, comboing in relic and then another combo, it might be a lot easier in certain actual battlegrounds matchups to get off that second special 2. And if you are kind of punching at the same level or punching down, again, you're going to be having a bit of a great time there. However, deathless Thanos is up next. So this is actually one of the most annoying defenders. He's so tanky and you've got to take this matchup incredibly slow. But this actually fits almost perfectly into Karolina's play style because, again, you're not mashing the hits. you're very cleverly like charging heavy attacks in the sunbeam when you can, and you're just chilling, avoiding also Thanos' long specials. You can see if we've positioned ourselves well, we're just getting all of this value. And this is another scenario where, again, goes in unstoppable, but we have that invulnerability frame from the end of the special too. So yeah, that is very, very useful there. And we're just going to use a special one to finish this off. Again, the special one has phenomenal burst. It doesn't apply incinerates, but it can use the incinerates applied by a special 2 to get a huge amount of additional burst to finish the fight. Then next up, we've got a very popular dual threat at the moment, which is Jean Grey. So she's got a psychic shield active, and we're going to get reverse controls as well. What I really like about Karolina for this matchup specifically is, you know, when you do have reverse controls, you've got this long charge stuns. That's brilliant for gaining control, and also a very long special 2 and constant power gain. So there's like a lot of things you can do, even if you're not the absolute best player with reverse controls, to not get immediately wrecked. And even, you know, blocking that special 1 at the end, we had the glancing hit, so we just didn't take any damage whatsoever there. We retaliate with a special 2, and then we're basically just looking to get a special 1 to finish this off. Tons and tons of overkill once you use the special 1, if you've still got those incinerates rolling. So yeah, phenomenal matchup against Jean Grey there. It was 43 seconds. Now, next up, we have Galan. Galan is another character in the Titan Crystal that's going to be a very popular dual threat for many people. And if you bring in the wrong character that can't kill Galan before he starts harvesting, it's going to be a very, very bad time. But Karolina, she just has the damage, the reach, the also control over her opponent's power by just gaining more power than them, which is very important in this matchup. You can see, you know, we've already fired off a special 2. We're pretty much at the next one. We like charge up another heavy attack off the combo there, and we can just get Galan down like he's absolutely nothing. Like, the control, the damage, the burst there was just everything we needed to just kill Galan before anything became a problem. 33 seconds there. Now, one also additional thing about Karolina's kit is all of the attacks are energy damage, so it means if you're fighting against Korg, you do not have to worry about the thorns here. I think, in all honesty, like, this wasn't the best matchup I've done against Korg. I probably missed a lot of scenarios where I could have charged up the heavy attack a lot more safely. So yeah, I played a little bit rubbish in this one in comparison to what you could do if you're playing this character, you know, better or perfectly. But yeah, like, this character has such a high kind of familiarity you've got to get with all these different matchups and how you're going to nuke your opponent. Here, I kind of saw this weird opening to cancel the heavy attack with the striker, so I could just get rid of the rock shield and then fire off that special 2. Again, a lot of the special 2 damage does come from the instant incinerate burst, but yeah, I think that was just the right play for getting a very safe KO on Korg there with 45 seconds left. Now, next up, we have everybody's favorite new buff champion, Rhino. We start off with a couple of hits and then into the stun in the sunbeam, just so that we can start, you know, charging up our power. And then we're just trying to keep this matchup controlled and not get too wrecked by the unstoppable. But here, we're in the sunbeam, we've got unblockable, and one thing I love is just where you get that really good positioning where you're throwing the special attack while you are still inside the sunbeam. So yeah, your special's firing off and your like power is fueling up. That feels incredibly good. But here, I just see the opening for the KO and we just burst Rhino down. So all that physical resistance, but this man does not have energy resistance, and Karolina is all about that energy throughput. A 33-second KO on what would be a 7-star rank 4 Rhino. Now, next up is Medusa, and one thing I absolutely love about this matchup is just the ability to quickly strip her Furies down, and also the fact that you just don't care about the auto block really in this matchup, because we can go into the sunbeam, we charge the heavy, we don't trigger that auto block whatsoever, and then we fire off the unblockable special. This actually puts an immediate consumption on all of the stacks of the Fury on the first 2 hits, so you essentially just strip Medusa down to 0 Furies, and then yeah, we just do another special 2, and she is absolutely wrecked there. So yeah, really, really good Medusa counter, because Medusa sometimes as a defender can catch you off guard if you don't have a good option. And then we've got Mr. Sinister. I would say, like, she isn't the absolute best Mr. Sinister counter, but she works for this matchup and can get through it. The biggest annoyance in this matchup is Karolina is actually quite susceptible to ability accuracy reduction, so if Sinister uses a special 2, then while you have that debuff, you're not really going to be able to do anything in terms of getting your damage off and getting your burst off, and the special 1, if he does those consecutively, you don't have a way to deal with a degen. So the ideal scenario is he just throws one special 1 here, and then you burst him down. So I think we go for the evasion on this, go for the 5 combo, get that second special 2. Wasn't quite enough damage, but very, very close there. And then unfortunately we take a hit to the face, we dodge the special 2, and then it's basically just kind of like regular damage to finish this one off. I think in hindsight there, just because I had the debuff, I should have used the striker, full combo, and then the special 1, and that would have been a cleaner finish. But yeah, it is a character that doesn't get hardwalled by Mr. Sinister, so that's always a pretty good thing. Next up, we got the buffed up version of Sentinel, who can be a really annoying defender if you don't have a good option, but Karolina just does not really care about any of the mitigation that he's putting up, and also on top of that, her playstyle in this matchup is so good because you can just do a medium and then heavy charge that you're not really giving Sentinel that many stacks. So yeah, we get the first one. You can see he started at 25, he's now at 31 there, so it's barely anything. We go in for 2 hits, charge another heavy attack here, get that off, and then we go back into the beam, we parry him again, use the special 2, and there is just so much overkill on those last couple of hits there. So yeah, really clean for Sentinel. Again, class advantage, you're absolutely cooking. Now, next up, we got Zemo, and I just wanted to highlight this matchup because it shows something very important about the character, which is one of the biggest strengths is she doesn't actually apply debuffs. All of her incinerates and energy vulnerability are passive effects, so this actually makes her surprisingly good for so many different skill defenders, as you're not getting punished for applying debuffs to the opponent. Usually against Zemo, like if you've got a debuff heavy attacker, you're just like constantly getting this route and the matchup's getting like really hectic. But in this scenario, you just kind of ignore it, and Zemo's like an incredibly easy character to deal with. We get a really clutch charge on that special 2, and he's just down, dealt with like he's absolutely nothing. So yeah, that was a phenomenal match. Now we've got Terrax. I think Terrax is a character you don't really often see too much at the moment, but I just really like this matchup. I think one thing that's really good about Karolina again is she's never aggressively playing into your opponent's power bar. So in this particular matchup, it just means Terrax loses his rock field very, very quickly, and then we're just pretty much healing back up to full off those armor breaks, while we kind of have that distance and control at the start to, you know, charge heavies and push him away. So yeah, this fight is kind of just absurdly clean, dude. Like, Terrax just dies on the second special 2, and, you know, he goes down like it is absolutely nothing there. So a really good Terrax counter if you're fighting somebody that, you know, is still trying to surprise and ambush you with that. A 32-second KO. Wolverine Weapon X. I occasionally see one of these when I'm fighting the biggest, the blubberiest boys, and Wolverine is one of those characters, if you don't really have a way to deal non-direct damage, like, you can get in a really bad spot where you're just losing so much time because you've got to bait out, you know, the full enrage and wait for him to get rid of that before you can KO him. But here, we use the first special 2, we knock him down, so we've got the 6 incinerates on, and because Karolina is getting pretty much all of her damage off like instant burst or incinerate damage, like he's not really regenerating that much in comparison to what he would be regenerating if you were just using a character that's doing, you know, pure physical damage there. So that was a 7-star rank 4 Wolverine Weapon X in 41 seconds, which I think is really good, dude. That is a very, very decent time. But Zola, we got to show some tech options as well. Again, I wanted to keep like a bulk of this showcase mainly focused outside of the tech class to show, look, this character, she's not just class advantage, right? Like, she's just cooking all across the board. But Zola is just like the perfect matchup for Karolina. She has so much control over this one. You can easily get the parries. You got the big special 2. Like, she doesn't care about, ignoring his special attack damage mitigation, because the incinerates and the burst damage just goes through that so heavily there. So I could have probably even been a bit more aggressive here, but we just used the second special 2, and Zola is down. The speed on that kill is just insane versus Zola. Zola is such a long matchup with so many characters, so having a nuke like that is just incredible. 39 seconds against Zola, 99% health remaining, incredibly respectable, and again, you could probably get that down to 30-35 seconds once you get very good at playing this character. Now, I would say the next matchup, it isn't a perfect one, but it's still a pretty good one. You know, if you're ever facing somebody that has a 7-star rank 3 or rank 4 killmonger, this can be an absolutely lethal matchup. You can get wrecked so easily, take an insane amount of damage on reflection, but once you really get Karolina going, she does take a bit of reflection damage from the basic hits, but from these massive unblockable specials, you're not taking reflection damage, and you're also not giving Killmonger massive amounts of power because you have passives instead of direct debuffs. So that's one of the things that Killmonger, you know, really takes advantage of as a defender, is he like just goes crazy with the special attacks if you've got debuff champions, but another big benefit of just having all of these passives that kind of bypass a lot of the skill class. Then we're almost at the end of the showcase today, but I had to show Red Skull, and also we got future Ant-Man as well. So Red Skull, you've got to get cooking a little bit because we need to essentially use a special 2 to strip down all of these armors, and then we're having a absolutely phenomenal time in this match. I actually did make a little bit of a mistake there. I thought I could charge heavy off my combo, but I just kind of misjudged and mistimed that. And here, I'm actually being aggressive at just holding block and letting him come for me, trying to bait out that heavy attack, getting a couple of hits, doing that again, just holding the block so we can go for 3 more hits, special 2, and just end the match up and not have to worry about baiting and avoiding that special attack. So yeah, that's a pretty clutch strategy sometimes, and that was 34 seconds against the Red Skull. And then finally, we've got future Ant-Man, who a lot of people have, or a lot of blubbery boys have, from the the Heart of Fire sale that we had earlier this year. So you see a few of these knocking about, and sometimes like future Ant-Man can be a really annoying defender if you get in a bad matchup and you know you don't have a great option. He just gets super tanky, but Karolina, she just doesn't care. She just strips like everything off here, gets a massive burst on the special too. The only thing kind of noteworthy with this matchup is like he's not gonna allow the passive incinerates to stay on him, so your second special 2 isn't going to have like quite as much, but it's also made up for heavily in this matchup just because you have the class advantage as well. So a couple of special 2s, you know, he's absolutely cooked. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the video. Overall, Karolina Dean, I think, is a character to really be excited about if you manage to pull her from the Titan. I know I want this character a rank 4 on my account like immediately. So I really hope that we get her. She's probably my most wanted at the moment because I think she's a really slept on champion currently. I just haven't seen that many people kind of using her or pulling her. But to be fair as well, it's really only the mega whales that can afford these brand new champions at the moment. They're so incredibly expensive, and so many whales went all in for Nico and maybe didn't fancy a round 2 on Karolina. But I know a lot of people opening the Titan crystals, very excited for this champion. So I hope she gets a lot of love, a lot of appreciation. Hope to see her absolutely cooking falls in the next month and a bit. But yeah, if you did enjoy this showcase, please do smash that like button. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.